Hi and welcome along to the All Guns Blazing podcast with my boy DT. How you doing, bro?
Where's the man? Why have I gone to a boy now?
My boy.
Have you just done a show with troops or something? Because you seem to have this different kind of energy.
My boy DT. What's wrong with that? It's still means the same thing.
Because you never say that. You never, ever say, my boy DT. It's like, my man. Come on, mate. Have you just done a show with troops?
I did earlier, yeah.
There you go.
You know what, right? I'll tell you, man, it's this lockdown thing, man. It's just got me all over the place, bro. I don't know where I'm coming or going. I don't know where.
Mate, it's mad.
I need to get out, man. I need to get. I could hear your kids. I could hear your kids in the background when we was first linking up this stream.
Mate, listen, when this is over, they're going boarding school.
Enough.
I don't want them even here on the weekend. Just go for a month.
Yeah, man. Trying to get mine, man. I mean, you know, the thing is, right, this homework stuff, you know, because they've been getting homework from school and that.
Yeah.
You're like, are you doing it? Yeah, it's all up to date. Yeah. I just don't trust them, man. You know what I mean? But it's very hard, isn't it? It is hard when you've got the kids.
It is.
During this lockdown.
You're trying to work from home. You've got the kids, and it's just, you know, normally we take for granted the little time that we have to ourselves when, you know, they go to school or they might go to grandparents, birthday parties, stuff where you get those 5 minutes to yourself, and you take those moments for granted, really. Now you haven't got those moments. You can't just go round to the grandparents and say, look after her for a couple of hours. I've got to go and do some work. I've got to go to work today or do this or do that. And they're literally in your hair 24/7. And it's like, by the moment they go to bed, I'm like that. I'm knackered.
You got a greater appreciation for your mum and dad now, haven't you?
Listen, you know what? The thing is, right, is that, you know what? It's like you appreciate your parents anyway. Yeah. But even more so now.
Yeah.
Situations and that. And obviously yourself, man. I know how hard things are.
What I'm saying is those little duties that they carry out, those little babysitting duties sometimes. And things.
Man. It's mad.
Next time when this thing's done and you just drive them over and say, all right, off you go, you could have a greater appreciation.
Yeah, massively. And you know the maddest thing is that I was speaking to my mum yesterday and she turned around and said how much she misses them. And I said to her, that I'm really, really glad that you miss them. I said, because once you're allowed to see them, you're going to see them a lot. So let's see after a couple of days with them whether you miss them anymore. You know what I mean?
Yo, what's going on with that beard, man? How comes it's still on? You've got to shave that off, man. You couldn't get the red.
What? It's so easy for a bald man to tell someone that can actually grow their hair to shave it off. Shut up.
All right? Shave it off.
What am I going to shave it off for? Move out of the way.
You didn't dye it. You didn't dye it like out of that's 2 weeks now, right? Since that forfeit, you didn't dye it as they told you. You messed it up. That's your fault. So to me, you have to go with the original thing the guy said, which was to shave it off.
There ain't no original thing about it.
That's what the guy said originally. Shave it off.
Robbie, get on with the show. Stop waffling.
That's what he said originally.
Yeah. If he told me that I had to go and jump off a bridge, what should I do
that as well? Yeah, you do that.
I mean, get on with the show.
Don't rush me, bro. Don't be rushing me.
You're so lucky you're not next to me. Look, Robbie uploads a video of him on punching bags, and now he's Muhammad Ali. Look at you.
Oh, you got scared when you saw that, innit?
Oh, mate.
You got scared, innit?
And to be honest with you, I actually thought someone had slowed the video down. It was so slow.
Yeah. You come step then. You come step up. You know what I mean? Remember, it's heavyweight. I'm not gonna be Floyd Mayweather on it, am I? I'm a heavyweight.
It's all right. It's all right. Come on.
You saw the power.
Yeah.
You just shook in it. You saw the power, and you're like, yo.
What on
the power of those jabs?
Yeah, the light bag. I mean, I like the little. There's a little bit of like the. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Do you know what I mean?
That's not a light bag, by the way. That's the heaviest bag you can get that stand up.
Okay. Like the heavy D of punch bags.
The heavy D of punch bags, yeah. Oh boy. I think he's got another fight coming up, isn't he? I've heard him talking about another fight or something when this thing's over or something like that. I know he keeps calling out Coogan all the time. Every minute I keep seeing him calling out Coogan.
He calls out anybody that can raise his profile.
Listen, I've known Coogan for years, man. He can look after himself.
Yeah, I know.
Be careful how he's calling that one out.
Hey, why don't you fight Heavy D for charity?
I'm beyond that.
Nah, I reckon we should get this going. You want to run your mouth about my beard and that? Watch me. I can stir a pot as well, you know. Watch.
He's not stirring nothing. I'm not doing that to take on anyone in the fight. I'm just trying to get fit.
Wait, hold on. Don Robbie versus Heavy D. We would sell the venue out. All proceeds can go to charitable donation.
Why do you always see? This is the thing with you. You put everybody else forward, but then when you're simple, like the guy. Remember how that thing started? You wanted me to do the tune live on the 24-hour fundraiser, which I did, and then the guy then said to you, shave. His original thing was shave off the beard. And right? I'm not sure now that Robbie's done his thing, and you backed out. And then he then said, you then said, hold on, I'll get it straight. Then you said, I won't shave it off, but I'll dye it. That's not what the guy told you to do.
I'm not going to shave it off. And anyway, you still have a forfeit left, don't you?
What?
Robbie. Yes, you do. With Troops is one. He
owes me a forfeit.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. No, hold on a minute. No, and can I say one other thing? The other forfeit you done with the chilies, you didn't eat both of them. You bottled it.
Bottled it? Yeah, you even eat a minuscule of it. That's bottled it. At least I did mine, unlike Truth.
Hey, you know for a fact in the comment section, there's going to be all them comments in a moment saying, skip forward to 10 minutes to watch the football content and to avoid all the shit that they chat at the beginning.
All right, let's get into the football content.
Yeah.
Right. I spoke to you. When did we chat? We did a show on Tuesday, innit?
Yeah, a couple of days ago.
So I haven't had a chance for you to get your opinions yet on what Dele Alli said about the North London derby. North London derby actually would have been last weekend, and we were talking about it and saying how we missed it and stuff like that. But evidently, according to him, it's no big deal, the North London derby, because he was playing it down, and I'll give you his quotes that he said. He goes, I think, and he's speaking to Copper 90, he said, I think if you ask fans, they will give you a different answer, because they were asking him, about the North London derby, is that the biggest rivalry for you and stuff like that. So he said, I think if you ask fans, they will give you a different answer. But as players, the way things have been going with the league and the games, the rivalry with Chelsea is bigger than the one with Arsenal because of what they've done to us in recent years. For fans, it's different because the North London derby is massive. But as players, I think it's Chelsea. So he's saying that he thinks Tottenham-Chelsea is a bigger rivalry than Tottenham-Arsenal. And he seems to be indicating there that, when he says, if you look at the league, he seems to be indicating, well, they're bigger teams in the league than Arsenal, so that doesn't really matter no more. That's the way I read that. I mean, what did you think of that quote?
Well, Dele Alli's from MK, so he wouldn't have an idea about rivalry to begin with. But at the end of the day, he sums it up in his quote is, if you ask the fans, they'll have a different view. Well, that shows how little you understand your own fans. The fact that you believe that the biggest rivalry in your club is completely different to what the fans is. We have a big problem as fans in general for players that don't understand their football clubs. The same with Arsenal. If you don't get it, how many times have we sat there and said, do players really understand what this game means? Do players really understand, what the whole history behind it is? You go and ask any of Arsenal's older players, whether it be from the Invincibles right back to Tony Adams' time, Rocky Rocastle and whatnot, or the Tottenham players right back to Paul Gascoigne, Gary Lineker, etc. They will all tell you the biggest game, Arsenal. And Arsenal likewise will say the biggest game, Tottenham. And it didn't matter that, Arsenal were miles ahead of Spurs for years. That was still the biggest game for us, Tottenham, because they knew and understood what the history behind it was. They know everything. This is the kind of derby that's handed down through generations. Tottenham have this big thing about us moving from South London. Don't like the fact that, we came onto their patch and became more successful, even though we were actually a North London club before Spurs, because they were not made a borough of North London until the 60s. They were actually from Middlesex. So we technically were a North London team before Tottenham. But they don't know the fact, we're called travellers and all these other things, and we've moved over from South London, piss off back across the water. All these kind of things are passed down through generations. When I was growing up, my dad made it very, very clear to me what Tottenham were about. If you go there, it's a cesspit. Do not go there. It's a swamp. And it's just like, you don't like them, they don't like us. And as you grew up, you had friends along the way that were Spurs fans in my particular instance. But you got on with those people. But when it come to derby week, match day, they were your worst enemy. You didn't speak to them. You didn't like them. You didn't talk to them. And you wanted to get one over them. And you ask any Tottenham fan, everything I'm saying to you right now, they will roll reverse that about me and Arsenal and everything else. There's genuine hatred between us as a club. I don't think people really, really understand it. I think when they see the Liverpool-Everton derbies, for example, there's not really any hatred in that. They sit together. They got families that all, mix and everything else. But Arsenal, Tottenham, man, that's right up there for me in terms of hatred as Rangers, Celtic. That's real hatred. Some of the foreign derbies that have hatred, when you think of Turkish derbies, real hatred. I'm not talking about atmosphere. I'm talking about hatred. There's a genuine hatred. And Dele Alli is so wide of the mark. And some of the comments that I've seen since yesterday from Tottenham fans, they're not happy about it.
I mean, do you think obviously he's saying, right, what the point he's trying to make is that, and I think he's trying to date it back to the time remember when Chelsea stopped them from winning the league? I think it was 2016, wasn't it? When Leicester won it, he's sort of saying that ever since that game, that's where their rivalry, they want to get one over on Chelsea more than Arsenal's, but what he seems to be saying.
Why? They finished third that season.
Yeah, but they were going for they finished third, but at that time, when they went into that game, they had a chance of winning the league, innit? And basically,
Robbie,
the league.
No, Robbie, they're the only team in history that is in a 2-horse race and finishes third.
But what I'm saying is that game, innit? It was that game that cost them the league, innit? And remember, Chelsea didn't have anything to play for, nothing to play for. But the way Chelsea played, remember, Chelsea were poor that season as well. But the way Chelsea played that night, it was like their lives depended on it. It was like a cup final. And the way they celebrated beating Tottenham. Remember, it was a real sort of fiery game. So,
I remember Spurs went 2-0 up, and then Chelsea brought it back to 2-2. Eden Hazard, I think it was, the second half. And Leicester won the league like that night. They were all sat at home celebrating around Jamie Vardy's house. Yeah. But that game, like, what? Because a team turns up and does one over you. Do you remember when Chelsea done one to Liverpool recently, the Gerrard slip, when they went there and put 10 men behind the ball and held on to that 1-0 until the last seconds when they broke through on the counter and scored? But what? Are Chelsea Liverpool's biggest rival now?
There's a lot of that is intensified the rivalry though between Chelsea and Liverpool. They genuinely hate each other now because of that game.
But it's still not bigger than Liverpool, Man United.
No, of course not. But and also he's also looks like he's trying to make the point that they're past us now, and they're like they see Chelsea as the bigger rival for the big prize of that main team from London. That also seems to be what he's
He can imply whatever he wants, right? At the end of the day, he needs to go and focus on his own game, his own career, and start trying to prove to people that he's not, a couple season wonder. Because that's all he is. What's he done in the last couple of years? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He'd be better off going back to MK and playing for them. Because that's his level. Trying to talk about how they're miles ahead of us now, this, that, the other. We're having our worst season, one of our worst seasons in Premier League history. And they're how far ahead are they?
1 point.
1 point.
We got a game in hand.
Do you know what I mean? You're that far ahead of us. I think
let's double check that actually.
I'm right in saying this. I think I'm right in saying this as well, yeah, that if the league does get suspended or finish and they do go with UEFA's plan, which is the points per game ratio, stuff like that, we actually overtake Tottenham. We actually go above them in the league on the points to game ratio.
I'm not sure how that works, but put it this way, they're when he's there saying whatever he's saying, they're 1 point ahead of us, and we've got a game in hand. And like you said, and we're having one of the worst seasons we have ever had. We've had to sack our manager and stuff like that. All right, they sacked theirs, but they sacked theirs earlier, right?
Yeah, we managed.
Yeah, so I don't know where he's coming from with this. I mean, what I would say though, all right, remember when it was us and United going for the title every year?
Yeah.
That was a bigger rivalry, though, wasn't it? That rivalry with Man United, Wenger and Fergie, us and Man United. That was a bigger rivalry than the North London derby. What was the more important game to win then? It was more important to win that Man United game, wasn't it?
It was more important because you knew that if you won those games, you effectively won a title. But beating Chelsea for Spurs, does Spurs beating Chelsea mean they're going to win the league? No. There was a different type of rivalry with Man United. You knew what was at the end of the trail.
Yeah.
Which was the pot of gold, should we say, the trophy.
Yeah, it's the two best teams. That's what I was saying the other day, right? That rivalry, because it's almost like he's trying to put it on that level. Like, well, we're so far past, Arsenal now that it's Chelsea, really, us and Chelsea. Well, Chelsea ain't going to win no league at the moment either, right? No. I suppose you could be saying the rivalry for the best team in London, but at the end of the day, when we were rivaling with Manchester United, like you said, those were the two best teams in the country. You had the rivalry between Fergie and Wenger, and you had the year in, year out rivalry that was basically us two battling it out for quite a few years to win the title. Like you said, Tottenham ain't in no battle to win no title. No, they're not in the battle to win no title. They only that particular year was the only year really, that 2016 when Leicester won it. Apart from that, I mean, I don't get where he's coming from with these comments.
At the end of the day, just go and have a look over the years gone by. Go and look at history. It's not hard to go and find out. You cannot physically watch a video of Tottenham winning the league in colour. All right? That says it all. It's black and white, grayscale. It's like, come on, man. Do you know what I mean? You can't even see photos. You need to find out one of them photo editors that can transform black and white into colour. All right? That's how long ago it was, yeah? In our worst part of our history, we've still won trophies. When Arsene Wenger had declined and he was past his sell-by date, he still won 3 FA Cups. Tottenham got to semi-finals. Pochettino was hailed as the great man, the man that changed and transformed them. He was there for 5 years and he won nothing apart what? Audi Cup. Arsene Wenger, right? Arsene Wenger came into Arsenal, for example, yeah? Arsene Wenger was more of an unknown than Maurizio Pochettino was when he came to Spurs. Because Pochettino had spent 2 years at Southampton, knew the league, knew the style, still couldn't speak English, right? But done everything, right? Arsene Wenger came in from Japan after spending his time at Monaco. came in, and what did he do? Straight away. There weren't no bedding in period. There was Premier League title, doubles, you name it. So where's the comparison? There's no comparison. Our worst ever time in history, and we still win things. Tottenham's golden era. Golden era. Remember that. The prime where they're all conquering. You reached the Champions League final and you lost it in the first 30 seconds. At least we got to the 76th minute against Barcelona with 10 men and we actually were close. All right. They've won the Audi Cup. Right. That's it. And you see the way they celebrated that. That shows you how deprived they are. You know what I mean? Them mans were literally lifting it a lot. They done the whole, oh, hey! Come on, man. Seriously. Even DTFC have won more trophies than Spurs in recent times. Come on, man. Nah, Tottenham, I'm sorry, but do not even compare. Yes, every team goes through periods where you may not be as good as you once were. Manchester United are going through that period now. They're not the team that they used to be. But does that mean that their biggest rivals, which are Man City in terms of, the distance-wise, neighbours-wise, does it mean that Man City are a bigger club than Manchester United? Of course it doesn't. They're better than them, but they're not bigger. But in Spurs' instance, they're not bigger or better. No chance. No.
Yeah, I think I couldn't believe when he came out and said what he said. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? You're gonna couple little years, you know what I mean? You're in the Champions League and that, and all of a sudden now you're trying to big it up like you're, oh no, we're no longer, Arsenal's not on our level. Now, that's total rubbish because, as I said, look at this season. There's no difference really between the two teams.
No.
Yeah, and we're having a terrible season as well. So I don't know where he's coming from.
Exactly.
He's not Liverpool, is he? You know what I mean? I could understand if they were like on Liverpool standards and that, and they'd gone way past us and they were just battling it out with City or Chelsea every year in, year out. They ain't.
No.
Remember, we used to have St. Tottenham's Day right up until about the last couple of years.
Exactly.
I don't know where this guy's coming from.
You tell me. I don't know. Go and ask him. Maybe lockdown's affected his brain. You know what I mean?
He's playing too many computer games, man.
Well, yeah. There you go. And listen, there might be a few other things as to what's wrong with him.
Actually, on that, of course, the French league, you saw that that's been cancelled. Mm-hmm. Very controversially, they awarded PSG the title. They've let two teams go down at the bottom, and they've decided on the teams that are getting in the Champions League, which is Marseille and Rennes. I think Rennes in the Europa League. Yeah. It's caused an absolute meltdown with some of the other clubs. I see what the Lyon president is threatening to sue. Yeah, now, it goes back to what we've been saying about over here. What happens if they did a similar thing here and awarded Liverpool the title? I know you've been very vociferous about it and saying that you can't give Liverpool the title. I think we see the problems right there, innit? Because they're giving it to PSG, and if you give the title to PSG, you can't have a winner and no loser.
You know, the only
teams down.
The issue is, Robbie, is that France are the only European league with the rule in place. That is the actual rule. If the season cannot be completed, the final standing is what's they're the only league that has that rule. So they physically, everybody before the start of a season knows the rules in France. You know that for whatever reason, the season can't be finished, you go by where you stand. So it's completely different to everywhere else because that's an actual...
Yeah, because in Holland, isn't it? In Holland, they just said void, no winner, no loser. Everything just starts again next year.
And my issue is, the biggest issue why you can't replicate what they've done in France, in England, is because not every team is on the same amount of games. How could you turn around to Aston Villa and say you're relegated? I know you've played a game less than everyone and that would got you out of the relegation zone, but sorry, you're back in the Championship. You can't. I'm sorry, you can't. And then you've got the Sheffield United situation. Well done, lads. You've had a great season, but you just missed out on the Champions League place. Even though you had a game in hand, which would have took you into the supposed Champions League place if Man City's ban's upheld, better luck next year. You can't do that, man. Honestly, you can't. And then on Arsenal's argument, at the moment, we're not in the European places. We win our game in hand. We go into the European places. Now, it might only be the Europa League, but to the club, that's a lot of money.
The only fair way to deal with it, you have to void it.
You have to.
I can't see any way. I mean, if they're looking to try and complete it. They're talking about playing on neutral grounds.
Bro,
I even heard some talk about playing abroad in a safe country.
Listen, just don't even get me started. I saw yesterday that they want them to wear face masks when they go back training.
Yeah.
Really? Are you taking the piss?
No, that might be a thing now. You know what I mean? That might be a thing. There's a lot.
If you have to wear a face mask, then it's not safe. So if it's not safe, why are you playing?
No, but it's just an extra precaution, isn't it?
Yeah, but Robbie, it's not safe. They're talking about disinfecting the goals, the corner flags, and everything. It's like, what next? You've got to do social distancing at a corner.
Well, our defence do social distancing anyway at corners.
Exactly. We'll have it down to a T. Because we're perfect at social distancing.
Our whole midfielders and defence, especially at the start of the season, we were doing social distancing. We were ahead of our time. That's why teams are just running straight through us. You know what I mean? Everyone's backing off.
Maybe we would be the most adapted. You know, we'll be the most adapted side right now. But Robbie, listen, come on, man. I'm sorry, but we're the only league at the moment that really seems to be pushing things. And it's like,
no. The Liga want to get back. The Bundesliga want to get back as well. They're both desperate as well. So
the situation. Look at the situation over there. Look at any death is bad. All right, but go and look at the death toll in Germany and look at the way that they've dealt with the virus. All right, and how they lock down quickly, how they neutralize things. There's a difference between there and the UK. It's over 26,000 deaths in the UK now. You know, and I know that Boris was talking this week and saying that, you know, we're past the peak. But the big issue is that we are still on the edge. And just as quickly as we can get over this, we can go back into it and have a second spike. And
but
Robbie, I don't trust no, Robbie, I don't trust no one in this country. I don't trust anyone because there's full of brain dead idiots in this country. Right? I saw yesterday how Liverpool were having arguments basically with the Liverpool's mayor.
Yeah.
Because he's saying that if Liverpool were to win the league title, everyone would turn, like, even if it's at a neutral place, you would flood out onto the streets. And I can see it now and I can actually understand it. Even though I won't agree with it, I can understand it because they've waited 30 years for the title. And all of a sudden you're being told that you can't, because we've been to Anfield many times, right? They all live around the Stanley Park area and whatnot. It's a very close-knit thing. They would all flood out onto the streets and celebrate. You see what the celebrations are like when the coaches are coming in at Anfield. So what happens then? That then you go, you know, you take one step forward, 2 steps back. That's the way that I feel that this is going at the moment. You know,
there's got to be. I mean, there's got to be a time when you're going back to that thing about the masks. In a lot of other countries, that's how they're starting to come back out. Everybody's got to wear that as a precaution.
Yes,
so I don't think you're going to get to a situation where it's completely safe to come out. I think there's still going to be an element of risk, but we got to start somehow, innit? Otherwise, we'll be locked down forever. I mean,
we're on about in football though, Robbie. Actually playing wearing a mask.
We're not playing. I don't think they're saying playing wearing a mask.
Yesterday, I saw the news. They said to go back to training, players
training, not playing.
Yeah, but Robbie, how are the players meant to train wearing a mask? Honestly, think about this for a second.
It's the new norm.
No, it's not. It's not the winter. It's not like they've got a snood over their face, yeah?
Exactly. They do. Mesut Ozil trains that have got a snood on anyway. It might be for Arsenal, actually, for the Arsenal execs, it might be a great sponsorship opportunity. Oh, you could have the Fly Emirates on the Fly Emirates on the mask or something like that. They'd probably do that as well. I'm telling you.
Mate, no. Because you know what they do? You know this part of it?
Yeah.
They put the nose of a plane. Yeah? And have fly, I swear to God, yeah, if they come up with that idea, I thought of it first. You remember this podcast, right? If they come up and teeth my idea, Stan Conky. But no, look, Robbie, man, mate, look, we'll have arguments all day long about this, not just myself and you, but people in general. Everyone says I do agree that we do need to slowly start to integrate back into normality, but we're never going to be normal until 2021 at least. I don't think you're going to be normal in 2020. This year's a write-off. And my argument is that while there's still deaths and while there's still, no vaccine, they're still cautious and there's still precautions in place. Why are you pushing to do this? We're hearing players now are saying that they don't feel comfortable in playing. What problems does that now bring up? Do clubs turn around and say, well, you're refusing to play, we're not going to pay you? Does that then have counter lawsuits on the other hand? And then you see people saying, well, how can the players not want to play when the NHS, they're working, they're putting their lives on the line and everything. And I understand.
And it's all right saying, and also, right, I mean, I know a lot of people say, well, they only want to go back because of money. But yeah, at the end of the day, these players are still getting paid. They're still getting paid. As soon as this club wants to go and furlough them or whatever, everybody's up in arms.
I know.
So the clubs want to get back to playing football to try and make some money. I mean, it's not just football clubs. There's a lot of businesses out there right now that are saying, come on, when do we go back? When do we, there's going to have to be an element of risk in us going back. We're not going to completely, there's not going to be no vaccine for at least, because it takes time to trial these things and that. So there's going to have to be a stage where we come out and we be careful with it. So we have testing. We have regular testing and we make precautions, masks and stuff like that. That might be the new norm for football as well.
Mate, it's just I can't.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Mate, you can't be playing in a mask. Huh? Do you know what I mean? You can't be playing in a mask, man.
Why?
I'm sorry, you can't. What next? No celebrations?
I saw a guy from UEFA saying that they want to bring in something like, which actually this would be a good idea. When players are spitting and all that, yellow card.
Yeah, but you say that as well, yeah? And that, I know it's as disgusting as that sounds, yeah? That's something that's natural when you're...
No, it's not. No.
It is.
No. How comes you don't see, like, when they're playing cricket, you don't see them spitting? When they're doing athletics, I don't see them spitting. Rugby, I never see rugby players spitting. You ever seen a rugby player spitting?
Listen, rugby players spit, drink, piss out of boots and all sorts.
No. Listen, when you watch a game of rugby, do you see them and all that like you see footballers? No, you don't have to do that. Why is it only footballers? Athletes, marathon runners have been running for 26 miles. I don't see them spitting.
You probably don't notice it. You probably don't notice it. That's why.
No. Well, how comes I don't notice it? How come sports, cricket, American sports, I don't see like you see them American footballers. I never see them go spitting.
I've seen it.
Baseball, where?
I've seen it.
Football, all the time they're spitting, all the time. I think it should be a red card. With the coronavirus thing, that should be a red if you're spitting. Because it can spread it. You carry on. This is serious,
I know it's serious. Jesus Christ, man. But
something that maybe beforehand it looked like nothing. Now that could be, you could be spreading it by spitting. You spit and then it's disgusting anyway. You spit and then someone else goes and slides on that and time to cut that out, man. That's just, I agree with it. What? You think that's all right?
It's part of football, man.
No, it's not part of football, man. No, it's not. What?
It is.
So why is it not part of other sports? That's exactly it. People think it's part of football. That's why they do it. They don't have to do it. They don't have to do it. They don't do it in other sports. Hey, you do it, innit? I can just think that's why you're defending it. Gobbing all over the place, you know what I mean?
I play the game. You sit there and you give it one of them out the nose and that.
Yeah, why? Do you do that normally?
Yeah.
You're disgusting. When this thing's don't come nowhere near me. I'm telling you that. It's exactly why you need to wear a mask. That's why you need to wear a mask then.
Hey, you know what it is?
You spit on yourself.
You know when you do like the fan interviews and that, are you gonna like put the microphone on the end of like a big stick?
I'm wearing a mask. When I do the interviews, when I do interviews from now on, I might have to get one of those. You know the ones with it's like a face. It's like a a guard that comes out. Yeah, I might have to get one of those. Especially come out of the game, you're spitting, man. Robbie, like yo.
Mate, listen, can you imagine how toxic would the old microphone have been? The amount of people that have shouted, just going mad in that phone microphone.
Honestly, I mean, all these things are sounding stupid, but we're going to have a complete rethink. I mean, listen, I do think things have a way of working themselves out eventually, and there's a lot of speculation going around, but we've got to think of what. I mean, the other thing is you immediately shut it down. Why couldn't you play the games at a neutral place, like say St George's Park or Wembley or something like that? Why not? Because it's going to be behind closed doors anyway. Why not?
Because you still got to run the risk of players picking up the infection from somewhere. How do they know they don't pick it up from home? And then before it's too late, they go and test them. But before it's too late, they've already got it. They test them. They're like, oh, my God, such and such is positive. That means that whole club, once there's one, Robbie, one. That's it, one. Yeah? That club has to completely shut down for 14 days, right? The team they've just played has to shut down for 14 days. Then what?
Just void the season, man.
But this is what I'm saying, because Robbie, one. That's all it takes is one. You know, it went from, you remember, the only reason why Arsenal were cautious and wary in the first instance before we played Man City was, if you remember, Mikel Arteta said that he felt ill on the morning of the game, but wasn't really thinking too much of it. But the night before, they announced that the Olympiacos owner had the virus, and we had played them a week or so before. Arsenal contacted the Premier League and said, look, he's now got it. Mikel ain't feeling too well. Do you think we should go up to Manchester and play this game? No. Well, the night before, that was all sorted out, wasn't it? And it was very late at night when the announcement was made. And then, bang, Mikel Arteta's got coronavirus. What happened then? Who did we play just before that? West Ham. West Ham had to go into shutdown. And then all these pictures started emerging of Mikel Arteta giving David Moyes a hug on the touchline. And it's like, well, he's going to have it now, isn't he? That's all it takes. One, Robbie. One player from one team, one member of staff, not even a player, a member of staff. One person's got coronavirus. That whole entire team has to shut down. Who they've just played, shut down. Do you know what I mean? I sound like Skepta. Shut down. You know what I mean? It's like, but that's what it is. That's what it's going to be. Shut down just like that. And then what happens then? The rest of the league's allowed to carry on, but these two teams or whoever's shut down are now going to play 2-3 games less, but got to wait 2 weeks till they can come out of quarantine. Nah, mate. Sorry. No. Disinfecting goals, corner flags, this, that, the other. Do the season, done, finished. Do what the Dutch, the French, and everyone has done, and set away a month like September as something to look forward to. Yeah, that is it. No sport or anything in this country in terms of sporting, mass gathering events or anything until September. We review it in September. Let's get over this virus. And then we go and revisit where we are in September, instead of taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I told you, if you want to give Liverpool the title just to shut them up, give them it. Or do what I said from the very beginning. Give him a certificate and say, well done. Thanks for taking part.
Well, I just think if he's shut down, that's it. You can't give it to anybody. You void it, you start again next year. That's my... Yeah. I said it right from the start, and I stick by that. You can't just be handing out things just for the sake of it. He'd be harsh on Liverpool, but this ain't just about Liverpool. This is about the whole integrity of the whole league. On that, you know, if you did shut it down, that means we'd have an extended transfer window. It's already painful talking about all the players that are getting linked and stuff like that. Now, we heard this week that there really a lot of money around. Arsenal, Ralstonelli telling workers and staff at Arsenal that don't look to see any big signings this summer.
Where's the money? Where's the cash?
I was just thinking that sorry?
Where's the cash injection? Yeah. Where's Stan helping us? Come on, man. I'm going to bring it up again. This is the exact reason why I backed Mesut Ozil. And I said, one of the things he wanted to see was whether the club are going to invest. If you want us as players to make sacrifices, then you as an owner have to make a sacrifice, because you cannot tell us to take wage deductions for a year and everything else, and then you don't strengthen the team to help us compete at the top end. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. And from what we're hearing from reports, a lot of players didn't want to take the wage cut, but they felt pressured into doing it. But Mesut Ozil stood up and went, no. Show me what you're going to do. When you show me, I'll back it. Until then...
After hearing that, are you assuming then that there is the cash injection maybe just going to be to keep the sort of non-playing staff in a job, and that's it?
Yeah, that's it. It'll be and it'll be a loan. He'll get that money back. Do you know what I mean? Stan's not going to do this out of the goodness of his heart. Oh, look, they're really struggling. Let me just pump a bit of my own money into the club. No. He'll probably put interest on it.
The other thing is as well, I'm so surprised that we haven't really heard nothing from it. I mean, I know he's got his representatives and people that... I think this is the time when we should be hearing from him.
Well, so you should be. You should be hearing from your owner. It'd be nice if this is the problem with him owning 100% now. There's no AGMs anymore. He don't have to answer questions to anybody anymore. He just sits there in America and just gets on with his life.
I mean, certainly, I think it was the AST guys were saying that, we could lose, this season alone. I think it's up to about 30 million, if the season's not completed and that. Because obviously they're going to have to refund people back their season tickets. All the games are going to be behind closed doors. Money's going to have to be refunded for that. They are going to be in a lot of problems, but is that cash injection to just... I mean, even if the cash injection covered all those costs, then money could be used, to then go and get a couple of transfers but it's not looking like it, is it?
It ain't. The only way we're going to make signings is by getting rid of players first. It's the only way.
And then that then comes down to players that have any value. And of course, that points to Aubameyang.
No, I don't think it would be him. I think that the one area that Mikel Arteta wants to strengthen more than anything is the centre of defence. And I think that we had this on a week ago. I think me and you were sitting there counting up all the defenders, all the centre backs.
Yeah.
So look at that. And yes, I know it's going to be difficult. Don't tell me what I already know, that it's going to be difficult getting players off the wage bill that are comfortable and happy and everything else. But that's the likelihood of what we've got to do. Mikel Arteta's got to sit there, and I don't know how. Because if you're comfortable and you're not going to get that wage somewhere else, why are you going to move? If I'm a player and I've got 2-3 years left on a contract and I'm earning 100 grand a week, and someone says, yeah, but you can go to such and such and you can get 60 grand. I'll sit there and go, now you're all right, mate. Now you're all right. I'll take my 100 grand. I'm cool. It's all right.
This is this whole thing's going to hit Arsenal in particularly hard.
Yeah, it will do. We've had this discussion and we said it ain't going to be until next year when we can logically look at it and go, well, we can get these off the wage bill because they're out of contract. Mesut Ozil's going to be off the wage bill. We went through a list of players.
Mustafi, Socrates, all those guys.
Yeah, and I think we even put the value nearly £1 million a week in wages. Nearly £1 million a week in wages. And that's why we said as well, the one player that we should bite the bullet on and just deal with it is Aubameyang. And just say, if he goes for free in a year, fine. He'll be 32 anyway. All right? Let's keep him for the year because you know he guarantees us X amount of goals. His goals are the difference between us being, 4 or 5 points away from a Champions League place and not in the relegation zone. That's the reality this season, Robbie. That's not even a joke. That's reality. So it's beneficial to keep him for the year and let him go for a free if we can't sort out the transfer. And then work from there. Because you'll get more out of keeping him for a year than from selling him. Way more. Way more. And then you'll get the rest off the wage bill. So, I said all along, Stan, when everyone was celebrating, when the news broke that Stan was going to invest in the club, I sat there and I was like, you fools. Look at you all celebrating. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't think no one was celebrating. Come on.
And listen, I saw it on social media. People were like, yes, Stan's finally done it. He's done this. He's done that. And I said, don't count your chickens too soon. Until I see Stan actually invest his money in the playing staff and that we actually compete at the top level, then I'll take my hat off and I'll say, yo.
Ozil must be there saying, see, I told you lot.
Exactly. And the other two players that are still not being mentioned are probably sat there now going, nah, told ya, you man taking a pay cut. For what? For him to buy a new toupee. You're mad. Nah. Sorry. Robbie, it ain't happening. I'm sorry, man. Seriously. Look at last year, yeah? We're in the Europa League final. It's a European final. I don't care if it's the Europa. It's a European final. We've not won a European competition since Alan Smith against Parma. It was a big day in the history of Arsenal. Where was Stan Kroenke? Where was he?
I don't know. He's on his rant somewhere.
Josh was there, but where was Stan?
Josh was there, but Stan Kroenke was on his ranch.
Well, I think the last time that Stan was at a game was Arsene Wenger's last game, and his face went on the big screen and he got booed, and they quickly took the camera off him.
He was at the game in the friendly in Denver. I remember seeing him there.
Oh,
he doesn't actually own that club. He owns the Denver.
Oh, there's a surprise. There's a surprise. There's a surprise. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember? I think it was the game against Barcelona when El Neni scored in the new camp. And afterwards, I turned around and said to you, Stan Kroenke's here tonight. And you were like, what? Stan Kroenke's here? Because we were playing Barcelona. Because he could mix with the people within Barcelona and be Mr. Look at me sort of thing. Will you see him going to the Europa League games? Sitting in a box at Bate Borisov.
Or Burnley away.
Do you know what I mean? No.
Burnley away.
And listen, and this is the thing, yeah. If Stan Kroenke invested money in the club, then he could live on the moon. I wouldn't care where he is, as long as he showed he cared. But he doesn't show anything. And because he doesn't invest in the club, he doesn't come to the club. You sit there and you go, what are you doing? What are you actually doing? You look at the Newcastle takeover. That guy's going to come in and invest money. But if he spends all his time in Saudi Arabia and never visits St. James's Park, do you think any of the Geordies are going to moan? Of course they're not. But if he done what like Mike Ashley did, which was, never invest or do anything to help the club, they don't care whether you turn up or not. They want to see results on the pitch. That's what we want to see as fans, results on the pitch. Stan Kroenke's been involved in this club for about 15 years. What's he done, Robbie? What's he done?
3 FA Cups, as you said earlier. I know, man. I know. It's that, like you said, that investment thing where he said he's going to put money in. That's just I said it at the time that let's watch and wait and see where that goes. But I always thought to myself, that's only just to tide over staff in the background, you know what I mean? So that they don't have to do the furlough thing. At this time, what I would like to see from him is him do that, of course, you know what I mean? Because, you know, if you don't sort those staff out, you have no club.
Exactly.
Also, I want to see him take a 30, 40 million out of his pocket and say, yo, there, have that for transfers. Just to get us by.
You're not going to get it.
Huh?
Be excited, Robbie. Be excited. Do you know what I mean?
Excited, yeah.
Be excited. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
I think, just to be fair, everyone's going to be in the same boat. Everyone's going to be...
I know that, but we're the team that always seem to be the ones struggling. We're the team... Robbie, the biggest issue I've got here, right, and I swear I'm banging my head against the wall, right? We're one of the richest clubs in world football. We're not one of the poorest.
And we're the first. What I always, right from the beginning, found really significant was that we was almost like, and I think maybe Ozil and those other two guys who didn't take the pay cut, probably thinking the same as well. Why was it us, literally the first of the big clubs to immediately say, "Oh, pay cut"? You know, Chelsea ain't done a pay cut. You know,
Chelsea haven't even done a.
Man United, Man United ain't done a pay cut. Liverpool ain't done a pay cut. None of those teams have said nothing about pay cut for their players. None of those big teams. None of the real big teams. Or even when they have done it, it's been a voluntary thing. We were sort of the first club to come out and say, right, players, we need you to, because times is hard. We know times is the same for every club. But it's almost like our reaction was like what you'd expect from a club, Watford or Burnley or one of those clubs that you genuinely know they'd be struggling because of what's going on. But immediately, and I was just like,
Sorry, but this is why, and I say it again, I stuck up for Mesut Ozil because he sat there and his representatives and said, cool, you want us to take a wage cut? What are you going to do? What are you doing, Stan? Show me what you're doing. All right, sit there and talk about deferrals and, you know, your directors are going to take a cut or this, that, the other. But what is that going to do to the playing side of the team? What's it going to do? And Mesut Ozil might also sit there and go, well, hold on a minute. We're taking this wage cut, right? But what's happening with Aubameyang? You're going to get rid of him. That's one of our best players. So we're going to take a wage cut so you can sell one of our best players. Yeah, how's that work out? Show us what you're going to do, Stan. Come on, Mr. Multi-billionaire. Show us what you're going to do. And that's why I backed him. And why he was
money.
He was right. He was right. Because what's Stan doing? Prove us wrong. Shut us up. Show us what you're going to do then.
I'm gonna have to get Lee Gunner back on to explain, see if he can explain this because you know. Anyway,
how can you explain it? How can you explain it, Robbie? How can you explain it? It came out only this week that Raul Sanelli and that have had their meeting and they've said don't expect any significant transfers. And we're talking about Partey. Do you know what I mean? The only way we're going to sign a Thomas Partey is if you get that money from somewhere else within the squad, like selling wise. Stan's not going to go out and go, you know what, Mikel, I know you need that guy. There you go. There's the money. That's the release clause. Off you go. If he does that, Jesus Christ, I'll do a hair reveal. Yeah, but he ain't doing it. He ain't doing it. Stan is not going to turn around and pull 30, 40 bags out of his own pocket and go, boom, there you go. He ain't going to do, no chance. It ain't happening, man. It ain't happening, Robbie. I'm sorry, it ain't happening. Do you know what I mean? And you know what as well, right? I'll tell you a question that I was asked, and this is a really good thing, yeah? Now, some of us pay season tickets in advance, like the full season, and some people have a finance scheme, depending on what your situation is, right? So we're all owed money, right? I pay for my mum and dad's season tickets every season now, right? I've also got two brothers that have season tickets. There's 5 of us that go to all the games, home games, right? We're all due refunds if the season doesn't finish, yeah? If the club turned around and said to me, would you stop would you accept not having the refund on the remaining games? I'd tell them no. Give me my money. Give me my money. When Stan proves where he's going to invest in the team, keep it. Then you can keep my season ticket money. No problem at all. But until I see something, no, give me my money back.
I think you're right.
Do you know what I mean? And hurry up about it as well. Sorry. Do you know what I mean? And I would love to be able to do just a tiny percentage to help this football club. I would love to do that, Robbie. You know, if they turned around and said, if everyone that's got a season ticket doesn't ask for their payment back the last part of the season, Stan's going to invest. Boy, go for it. Go for it. I think there would be more than 90% of fans that would go, we don't need that. Cool. This is going to be beneficial. There's some people that might need it because they're struggling. And I get that. But, nah, the club turned around and asked me that. I tend to piss off. You ain't ever, give me my money. Give me my money back, man.
You sound like Mesut.
Listen, I'm going to get Mesut to represent me for that one. Do you know what I mean? We can swap roles. He can go and stick up for me. But no, seriously, Robbie, why should I? Why should I give something back to? I know it's hypothetical, but I'm just saying, if the club came to us as fans and said, "Give us something back," I said, no, I've been sitting here like this with my hands out, asking you to give us something. Do you know what I mean?
For years.
So for years, we were paying over £1,000 a season for a season ticket. You know, I remember the first year that we dropped into the Europa League and season tickets went down to just over £800. A lot of people were like, "Oi, this is all right. I don't mind being in the Europa League. I got the option." Do you know what I mean? But it's like, come on, man. Give us something back. Have we not invested so much into this club as fans? You know, thousands upon thousands upon thousands. I still keep getting emails from the club, right, talking about how they've got a sale on. Buy this. No, what do you mean buy this? You buy something first and then I'll buy something.
You buy, we buy.
Do you know what I mean? You spend, we spend. Wasn't it? Or something?
You spend, we spend. Yeah.
But it's true though, Robbie. At the end of the day, if you want something from us, then we want something from you. You're the owner of the football club. Yes, it's great that we're self-sustaining and with this club that are not in serious debt or anything else, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, all right, great. But times have moved. Times have moved. We need an owner that's going to invest in the team to make us competitive on the pitch. All right? Because what's going on now is that it ain't just two teams anymore in the Premier League. All right? We've got a real danger now of being a top 8 team. And again, I'll go back to that Man City interview that I've done a couple of years ago. And I said, we're a top 8 side. And you looked at me funny. Like, really? And I said, watch. It's going to take us 5-6 years to turn this around. But only if we get the backing of our owners. And we're not.
I think if they had the proper backing, we could be bouncing back pretty quickly. But,
yeah, but we're not going to. We've got to look at Liverpool, right? Liverpool ahead of us. Man City, right? Chelsea are going to invest. Now their ban's over, right? You've got Spurs. Fuck Spurs. They're Spurs.
Man United.
Right? Manchester United. Leicester. Now Newcastle.
Newcastle.
We're going to be a top 8 team, Robbie. A top 8 team. So, no, I'm sorry. That's not acceptable. How can that be acceptable? We pay champagne prices and we get lemonade football. Nah, sorry, mate. Sorry, the boat stopped. You've got to now go and invest in this team and you've got to make us competitive. Yes, Mikel Arteta has to be smart in the transfer market with certain things because we had this discussion as well. It's not all about 70, 80 million pound players. There are Gabriel Martinellis out there. There are Sakas out there. There are Bern Lenos out there. 20 odd million pounds. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, you do need 1 or 2 big names that can do it. Like an Aubameyang, 50 odd million pound, 50 million pound well spent. All day long. You need a couple of big names and you've got to pay big money to get a big player. And if we don't, we're just going to be a top 8 team. And I warned everyone about this years ago. We'll be a top 8 team, man. So maybe now people might actually wake up and see. You know, I'd love to eat my words, Robbie. I'd love to sit here on a podcast in a couple of months' time and go, boy, I can't say nothing. Fair play, Stan. I bet my words. You know, and there'll be thousands of fans that are like-minded to what I'm saying that would eat their words and say, boy, okay, cool. Fair enough. But do I think that I'll be doing that video? No.
Well, on that thoroughly depressing analysis by you, I want to thank you. It's been entertaining. It's been brilliant as always. I love when you speak your mind, and you know what, you say a lot of things that are true. Show us the money.
The thing is, do you know when I'm talking sense and you agree because you don't say nothing? Do you know what I mean? And straight away, I know you too well now. If you disagreed, you'll go, hold on a minute, hold on a minute, hold on a minute. That's what you do. Whereas me, if I don't agree, it's like, no. We know each other too well. But when you just sit there like, you're like, yeah, I can't disagree with it. I can't even play devil's advocate. I can't even have an argument here just for the fun of it. I've got to agree with it.
Stan, spend that money. Let's see this cash injection. DT, thank you very much for coming on today.
Pleasure, man.
Don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV. Subscribe also to DT's channel as well. He's doing daily content as well. Make sure you check that out. And we'll be back next week with another All Guns Blazing podcast. We're doing 2 at the moment per week. You guys have requested it during this lockdown period. So we are giving you exactly what you want. Will football come back? Who knows? Will Stan invest any money? Who knows? These are all unanswered questions that we're going to have to wait and see what happens. The coronavirus has not just affected the world of football, but has affected everybody. But you know what? We can defeat it. If you're displaying any of the symptoms, always make sure that you self-isolate. I know it's a terrible time, but we will defeat the coronavirus. We will be back.